guys.
Awesome. So thanks, Tiff. And I want to get rolling. And Tommy, I hope you don't mind. I talked to Dan a little bit this morning. He's pressed for time, so I'd love to fill every moment that we have with his knowledge and bombs that he's going to drop on us. Hey, listen, what they don't know, Tiff, real quick, is that you and I usually show up like 15 minutes early, and there's like some really cool music playing, and we talk about stuff, and it's just a lot of fun, and we hang out and blah, blah, blah. So there's like actually an advantage to being a little bit early. Just saying. All right, so let's jump into this. So I'm so excited today because we've got a great friend of ours here with us today, and I'm just really excited about it. So I'm going to give you his bio real quick, then turn it over to him, and let's do this. So Dan Rochon, good friend of mine, by the way, and Debs and Toms and DJs, his purpose is to help people achieve greatness and open doors for their success through his teaching, writing, coaching, and his mentorship. He leads the Greetings Virginia Sales Network to exceed expectations for his agents and his staff. Dan's committed to helping agents have no broke months because he believes no agent should ever have a broke month again. He's the author of The Real Estate Evolution, the 10-step guide to CPI, which is consistent and predictable income. As a real estate sales agent, Dan and his team are consistently top producers in their marketplace and provide solutions for their clients. In addition, through his investment company, Dan Rochon has been investing in residential and commercial real estate. He has been on the Nightly News with Brian Williams, the Today Show, CNBC, Washington Post, Washington Examiner, WTOP News, and he was voted best DC real estate agent in Washington City Paper Readers Poll. Owner of the Greetings Virginia Sales Network, associate broker in Virginia and Maryland, co-founder of the premier website Greetings Virginia. He's a certified practitioner in art and science, humanistic, neurolinguistic psychology, and neurolinguistic programming.
I'm glad you said it because I would have never been able to do that intro.
We give that
say my own name.
We give that to the intro just to mess you up. They gave you the long intro. Here's the thing. Hello, welcome. My name's Dan. Here's the short bio. I sell real estate. So I'm an agent just like you. I've been selling real estate since 2007. I've been privileged to have no broke months since 2008. And of all the stuff that I've done, that's the one that I'm most proud of. Because we already know that the challenges that we have as agents, that the agent population has, is inconsistent months. Has anybody here ever had a closing in January, or maybe 2 or 3, and then nothing in February and nothing in March? Has that ever happened to anybody? Does it feel threatening to you? Does it make you feel anxious? Are you concerned when it becomes 2 or 3 months after your last closing? If you've had that experience in the past, you're in the right place this morning. I want to invite for you to pay attention to, I'm only going to be next 23 minutes, and then Tom and Coach Curtis and Debbie and whoever else is going to take over from there. And I only have 23 minutes to present to you right now. And I want you to pay attention because what I'm going to give you is the 3 keys to you having no broke months. Would you like to have no broke months? Would anybody say yes or raise your hand or I? Would you like to have no broke months? All right, I see a bunch of hands being raised. And I'm going to invite you again to have your videos on, because when you have your videos on, we're able to interact more effectively. And when we're able to interact more effectively, then you'll be able to implement these tools and these suggestions more effectively. And when you do that, you'll make more money. So simply put, if you want to make more money, turn your video on. All right, so 3 keys. Key number 1. I want you to, everybody, to take out a piece of paper, if you could please, and a pen. You can use a pencil if you're old school. I'm all right with that. Or marker, I don't care. If you're, if you're getting your makeup on right now, use your lipstick. Who cares? Just take notes. So, why do you sell real estate today? And I'm looking for an answer that is the lowest denominator. Not the altruistic, I want to save the world. Not the I want to bring clean drinking water to impoverished countries, which is obviously needed. Yet, if you're not able to pay your rent or your mortgage or your car payment, let's take care of ourselves first before we take care of another. I'm sure we've all flown on the airplanes, and one of the first things they say when they're given the safety briefing is, if you're with small children, and if in the event of an emergency, put your face mask on first, then care for the others. So I want you to think about this from the perspective of your needs. So why do you sell real estate? We already know why you got into real estate. You got into real estate for freedom and money. That's why you got your license. Today, the answer may be more closely related to, I don't want to go drive an Uber. Or I don't want to go drive a 9 to 5 or work a 9 to 5. Or if you're like me, when I got started in real estate, I was a waiter. I was waiting tables before I got my real estate license. There's no way ever that I was going to go back as an adult waiting tables. It just wasn't going to happen. And I got my license when I was 32 years old. So I was a waiter after I got out of the Army until I was 32 years old. And I'm not going to go do that. So I want you to ask yourself the question, why do you sell real estate from the lowest denominator today? Is it to pay your mortgage? Is it maybe it's to send your kids to private school? Maybe it's to have an extra income for vacation. Whatever it is, write that down right now, and I'll give you a second. Now, as you continue writing, I'm going to ask you the following question. I want you to look at that first answer about why you sell real estate. The no BS, the authentic, the vulnerable, like this is why I do this. I got to pay my bills, whatever it is. What's important to you about that? So now I want you to ask yourself a second question, reviewing the first answer. What is important to you about that? And I'll give you a few seconds, a few minutes, not a few minutes, but a few seconds to answer that. So as you finish up, I'll share with you an assignment. If I gave you an assignment, just because we're short on time, that will be a framework for you to be able to make sales every month that you choose. Would you be willing? And if it's a framework that I promise will implement, will apply to all areas of your life and help you, would you be willing to accept blindly for me to present an assignment for you to do this weekend?
Yes.
Do it before the Super Bowl though, right? Because that's a whole another game. Here's your assignment. I want you tomorrow, I want you to look at that, what you wrote on that piece of paper about why do I sell real estate? What's important to me about that? And I want you to continue asking yourself the same question. What's important to me about that? And I know it's the same question. I'm going to invite for you to continue asking yourself that question until you get to an answer that sings to your heart. You'll know when you get there. So why do I sell real estate from the lowest denominator, the no BS, to what's important to me about that? What's important to me about that? What's important to me about that? Until you get to that answer, like, boom, that's it. And I want you to commit to having that done by, let's say, before you go to sleep tomorrow night. Is that fair? You guys okay with that? Fantastic. Once you have that completed, you're going to have a series of what's important to me about that going down a framework. And now what I want you to do is I want you to look at the first answer, why do I sell real estate? And the last answer, what's important to me about that, the one that sings to your heart. And in between, I want you to swipe right. Is it swipe right or swipe left for you single people? Which one are we getting rid of them? I don't know which one it's supposed to be. Whichever way we're supposed to swipe that way, and we're going to get rid of that middle piece.
Left.
All right. Left. Okay. Thanks, Tom. Swipe left. And so now what you're going to be left with is why do I sell real estate? And then that ultimate what's important to me about that sings to your heart. It's going to look something like this. I sell real estate so that I can afford to pay for my daughter's private school, which means that I can perceive myself as a worthy father. That's my answer for my exercise. And my answer has changed through time. Once upon a time, my answer was, I sell real estate so I can get out of this cramped townhome that I'm renting out extra rooms to be able to pay the mortgage, so that I can afford to pay for a home that is appropriate for what I desire, which means that I can be a responsible adult. That was what it was once upon a time, and it's evolved through time, and yours will as well. Once you write that down, the next step, so this is going to be tomorrow night, you're going to have this, you're going to take out a yellow sticky note. Now, if you're a rule breaker, you can take an orange sticky note or a green one. All right. But that's the allowance that you have for breaking the rules. So you're going to take out a sticky note and you're going to write on there, I sell real estate so that ... Why do you sell real estate? Which means ... Whatever sings to your heart. And then I'm going to invite for you to take that sticky note and put it on your keyboard, so that wherever your workspace is, wherever it is that you're going to be doing real estate sales, whether if it's doing emails or even if it's just, sort of slouching around, toying around on Facebook, whatever it may be, that you have that front and center. And so now that you have that front and center, that's going to be a tool, that's going to be a compass for you to stay on track. So key number one is to identify the lowest denominator. Why do you sell real estate? We're going to get back to that here in a few minutes. Now that we understand why we sell real estate, I'm going to ask for your participation, and I'm going to ask for you to shout out as we go along this. And I'm going to ask for you to share. You can type it in, and I'm sure somebody will shout it out to me when we type it in. To share with me out loud or type it in. What are all the ways that you could find business? And I don't care if you can implement these. Right now, I want you to here, before we do this, if anybody is as old as me, you'll get this. Tom, I love you to death, my man, but you'll get this. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to take your minds and I want you to do an etch a sketch with them, right? Because I want you to have a fresh, clean mindset. Literally, go like this right now. Except if Kara on the treadmill, don't do that because we don't want you to fall. So stay safe. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we got the why. Now I want you to shout out to me. What are all the ways that you could find sales, even if you can't do it? For example, I could do radio advertising, right? Many of us, that's not viable. I could do for sale by owners. Many of us want nothing to do with them. They eat their young. It's okay. I can show you a way that that's viable. What are some of the ways that we could find sales? Go ahead and shout that out if you could, please.
Our cell phone.
Say again.
Our cell phone. Contacts our cell phone.
I'm going to write down sphere of influence.
Yes.
Sphere of influence / cell phone. Great. Who else? Who's next?
Door knocking.
Door knocking.
Door knocking. I heard open houses.
Networking,
What else?
farming,
Farming. Love it. Love it. Love it. What else?
Grocery store.
Mailers, all of that.
Mailers. Going to the grocery store. We got to eat, right? We got to eat. Who here's got to eat? Hey, put your name tag on, would you please? Grocery
Open
store.
houses.
All right, open houses. Who's next?
Standing on the street corner with a sign.
Standing on the street. Can we put on like one of those outfits that they do outside the tax office and spin it? Can we please? Can we please? Hey, let's
The end
do
is
it.
nigh. The end is nigh. Sell your home.
Sell your home. Sell your home now. How else? How else? How about
Expired for sale by
Social
owners.
media.
expired social media? Let's put a pin in that 1 second. We're gonna expand on that. How about billboards?
Grab billboards. Yeah, fly a sign behind an airplane.
Buy
I
a
live by
sign.
the
I
beach.
love it. Man,
You
that's
said builders
awesome.
and developers.
Behind an airplane. That's a man. Who said that? Who said the airplane? Todd did. Man, that's freaking awesome. Builders and developers. Okay, let's go back to social media for a second. So social media, let's break that down into some components. YouTube is social media, correct?
Mhm.
If you don't believe that YouTube social media, I'm gonna invite for you to reframe yourself to consider that as social media. Because when you could consider it from that perspective, it's going to make you a lot more comfortable using YouTube, by the way. And you'll be able to use it more effectively. So YouTube, social media, Facebook, social media. Now we can use that in a couple different ways. We can use that to put a social presence out there where there's an awareness. We can also use that more strategically where we participate in groups or maybe even start a group. So for example, a military relocation group or a community group. We can also use Facebook for paid advertisement where we have 123 Main Street and you advertise that online and then you capture their data. That's a small investment of money, about $2 per lead. By the way, in that strategy, you'll get 1 out of 100 in the next 90 days will be a client. So that's a good, viable strategy. It's a 99% you're going to fail. And 1% you'll have $10,000. Hey, I like that math. I don't like to fail 99 times, but it's a quick failure. Hey, you want to sell? No, screw whatever. You know, they say something bad to you. No, I don't want to sell. Okay, you don't want to sell. Next, 99 times. And then, yes, I'd like to give you $10,000. Hey, I'll take it. What else can we do to be able to find business? I love it. So keep throwing them out to me.
Do some booths at events like car shows or food
Car
shows or
shows.
something.
All right. So
Community events,
community events,
client parties.
Anywhere.
client parties. How about, nobody said it yet. How about, I'm going to say it. And as soon as I say it, I'm going to ask for you to just like let it drip right out the other side of your head. But I got to say, how about Zillow? All right, now it's out of your head. It's already past you. We're past that now. Let's move on. How about resources that you pay a referral fee at the back end of?
Agents.
Such as real estate agents, such as Ojo, OpCity, Referral Exchange, Agent Pronto, Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider. What else? Ideal Agent, Clever Agent. What's that, Tony?
Homelight, sold.com.
Homelight, sold.com. Absolutely. How about sources like that? By the way, I sell about 10 homes a month. And about 3 of those homes each month come from one of those lead generation sources. Mateo says investors, love it. All right. 30 seconds. What did we miss? What did we miss, team?
Just making sure everyone knows you have a real estate license.
Everyone you know knows you have a real estate license. All right. I've got a list that I compiled. I'm going to share it with Curtis. And if you're interested, reach out to Curtis and we'll figure out a way to get you a complete list. Whether we have an email list, I'm sure we do, and we'll just share that with you, that I've compiled from years of teaching this class. So once you get, so again, your first homework assignment was to, why do I sell real estate? What's important to me about that? What's important to me about that? And now I'm going to use that as my compass. Then we went and we wrote down all the ways that we could find business. All right. And I'm going to give you a compiled list so that you can have that in your email. Now, the next piece of this key is to go and identify. So you're going to get a fresh piece of paper. And we're not going to do this now. I'm going to give you the directions so you can do this tomorrow or tonight. What are my superpowers? What does my brother say I'm freaking awesome at doing? My husband, my wife, my spouse, my girlfriend, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my mother, my father, my best friend, my daughter, my son, myself. What do I say is my superpower? And it's got nothing to do with sales. It's just, what do you do great in life that it seems almost as though it takes no effort? That you get energy from doing it, that you're inspired for doing it, that you love doing. Okay, one of the things for me is I love teaching. People say I'm good at doing this. Well, that's great and all, but how can we use that in a real estate sales context? Do you know my other 1/3 of my business comes from teaching events? Because I lean into what people say that I'm good at doing and what I enjoy doing. So what we want to do is we want to find your superpower. Then we're going to go back to this list here. And that list there, we're going to mix and match, or we're going to pair rather. What's your superpower? What are the options? Now let's match those two. When you match those two, then that is what your lead generation is going, that what you're going to lead with. Pick no more than 3, particularly if you're starting. If you're more developed and you already have things going on, that's fine. We can go all the way up to 9. Okay. But for most of us, let's stick with 1 to 3. And we're going to take that. And now that is our job description. That is what we do. So key number 1 is understand, why do you do this? Key number 2 is, what is your way? What I just did was an exercise that we do within my coaching community called the Discover Your Way. And now that we've discovered your way, there's only 1 key left. Anybody want to guess what the 1 key left? And this is a 10-second part of the class. Take that your way and do it. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Liz. Do it with the energy that Liz just said. She said, do it. She didn't say do it. She said, do it. Right? I heard some expletives behind that statement. Like, freaking do it. Yeah. Do it on steroids. All in. If open houses is your job description, do 4 open houses a weekend. Is that a lot? Well, I don't have time to go through the math with you right now. But let's say on average, there was 20 people that came into 4 open houses, 5 an open house, and 10 of them are with an agent. That means that you can have 10 prospective people this weekend that you can meet that are in the market to buy a home. And of those 10, let's say that 8 of them, you're just not able to convince or influence. Now you got 2 left. And let's say one of them falls off the map. Now you got 1 left. How much work did you put for those 2 open houses? No more than 16 hours. I just gave you 4 hours for each open house, for driving, setting up the signs, everything. So that's the quickest way I could do the math. Okay, what's the outcome? $10,000. Would anybody here want to work for me if I owned a McDonald's for 16 hours, if I paid you $10,000 at the end of the 16-hour shift? Hey, baby, I'm flipping burgers. I'm flipping burgers. That's a good investment of my time. That ain't my way, but I'm flipping burgers. So that's the 3 keys to having no broke months. Define your way. Define your why, define your way, and then do it on steroids. I'll give you one little bonus here. Let me give you a bonus. Has anybody ever given you a job description? Like the 5 things that make you money? I'm going to give you the 5 things that make you money, and then I'm going to give you the 5 things to build a business. So this is in your business, on your business. I'm going to wrap it all up. Write this down. 5 things that make you money. This is where you get money from. Lead generate, convert the leads to meet you, meet with them for the purpose to get hired and show homes, negotiate, practice your scription role play. You probably may have heard of some version of that. You may or may not have heard some version of this. Now let's build a business. You want to build a business, you want to recruit people to your world. You want to select the right people to be in business with. You want to train them so that they can reach their goals. You want to lead them. Yeah, Curtis is smiling. You want to lead them so that they know how to think so that they can reach their goals. And then you want to motivate them so that they can reach their goals. I just did that part there to make Curtis laugh. So now you got the 5 and the 5. And now you're going to wrap it all up. And the last thing you're going to wrap it all up with, and I'm going to put this around those 2 5 as though if it's an infinity sign, because this is really what can amplify your business to the highest level, which is manage your money. So those are 11 things that you should consider to focus your time on. And if you choose to do something outside of that, then what do? You look back at your compass. It doesn't mean that you don't build websites. It just means that you look at your compass and you say, is that a part of these 11 things? And if the answer is no, then start to be curious about how can I get somebody else to do that? How can my teenage kid do that? How can I get a virtual assistant, whatever the case may be? Last 30 seconds. If you're interested, I go deep into this in a 5-day course. You can visit www.5daylistingchallenge.com. That's the number 5-day listing challenge. It is a free class. And during that class, I'll show you how I've taken 79 listings myself as an agent, face-to-face, in the last 12 months. And more importantly than me doing it, how you can do it. And I'll get you that list as well. Thank you, everybody.
Dan, so awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank
See you
you for
guys.
being here.
My pleasure. Good luck. God bless y'all. Make good choices. Help somebody. Be grateful. And go find a listing. Sorry, I had to say that too. Bye.
Curtis,
Ends
do you
every
have-
call that way.
Hey, Can
Go ahead.
anybody write that in the chat?
I'm sorry, 5-day listing class, is that, I wanted to put that up in there.
Yeah, no problem. It's 5-day listing challenge.
5-day listing challenge.
Five written out or just 5 day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if he's send me that list, he'll send that stuff to me later, or Debbie, and it'll probably be on there, and I'll make sure that we get it to Tiffany to get it out. Whatnot.
Perfect. All
Awesome.
right. Unbelievable call. Curtis, Debbie, thank you guys for arranging that. It was unbelievable, unbelievable what I wrote down. And I've heard these things before. I just heard it differently today. Right? Know your why, you'll find your way, right? All those things. The way he broke it down is why I sell real estate, but break it down to the daily thing. There was a time in our career, and I'll share this with you. And I wrote it down here, by the way, on my sticky note. So I didn't have to think about it and do it as homework. I automatically know what it is. And here's what it is, why I sell real estate. So I never have to go to the church again for food for my family. Guys, I had to go in line at church for food for my family in 2008 or 9, one of the years. I don't even remember. Went from having all kinds of money and homes and cars and everything to going to church for food. The same church that we fed the homeless in. So it was a great, awesome call. Thank you guys for arranging that. So.
I have a quick recommendation based on what Dan shared. Once you pick your 3, I call it the 3-legged stool. Once you pick your 3, do not ever go take a training or sign up for a class that isn't part of your 3. In other words, don't squirrel. Stay focused, whatever 3. If you have 3 and you create a system around that, great. You can add a 4, you can add a 5, you can add a 6, or if you're a seasoned agent that has 5 or 6 pretty systemized lead sources. The challenge is we get so tempted when there's a sexy class that doesn't align with our lead sources that we go take it. And the perfect example is the example that I use from Curtis all the time. When Curtis was running an office, he put a survey out to all the agents and asked them what they wanted to learn. Do you know what one of the most popular responses was? 1031 exchanges.
He's serious.
1030, more than one person said 1031 exchange. And he and I are looking at this afterwards going, seriously? Seriously? How many 1030, if you knew everything about 1031 exchanges, how many of those would you close in a year? 1? 2? And nobody said, I want to know how to talk to for sale by owners. I want to know how to talk to expireds. I want to know how to talk to my sphere. So the key is choosing your 3, but then also putting blinders on, right? And not, if you're an open house dude, make a commitment for the next 6 to 9 months that you're going to do them every weekend and you're just going to put your head down and you're not going to go take an expired class if that's not on your list. You're not going to go take one of those other things because that's the thing that derails us, right? We choose our 3, we choose our path, and then we get distracted because there's so many beautiful shiny objects out there. And well, but if I knew about for sale by owners, maybe I would do them. I'm not saying never take a for sale by owner class. I'm not even not saying not to take the class now, but don't let it dissuade you or take your focus off of the 3 sources that you've committed to, because when you commit to 3 sources and you create a system around that, meaning what's my open house system? I can do 10 open houses. I know I'm going to get 16 leads because I keep doing 10. I keep getting 16 and 3 close. That's a system, right? It's duplicatable. You could have an assistant go put your signs up. You could have assistant do the marketing for it. And you could have your assistant buy the food and water and the things that you're going to share. And you can just gather up the supplies and show up, right? That's a system. So the other caveat is to make sure that you don't get distracted from the 3 sources that you chose.
Go ahead, Tom. I'd love to hear, listen, thank you, Debbie, for that. I had this conversation, that exact conversation with someone that's on this call yesterday. Right, Todd McCann? Sorry, I threw you under the bus, sir. But yes, I had this conversation with you. Awesome. Hey, so anyway, thanks for that, Deb. And we appreciate Dan being here. I'd love to hear from some of you guys what you got from the call. How did you like Dan? What did you hear? What did you learn? That kind of thing. Anybody, this is open forum.
What I liked most about that call was the why changing, because I really never thought about it. And my why at year 11 was completely different from 1, 2, 3, you know? And so I'm really looking forward to like drilling down and really getting the answer.
I love it. Thank you for that, Colette. You know what I liked about that part, just to piggyback off what you just said. I like how he said drilling it down, and then he actually came up with that statement, right? And so I don't know that we actually do that part. I know that I'm coming up with one myself. I coach real estate agents, so that, right? And I'm going to spell that out. And so I love that. So I've got to look at that, and that becomes my compass. So thank you for that. Who else?
What I really like about this call today is because we heard this so many ways from all of you coaches, and but today it was just drilled different way, especially when he said, what are your superpowers? He just basically just reel you in to make you focus and forget about the rest. And this is your superpower, use them. And I really love that, because when I wrote all this lead gen that everybody was saying, I wrote them up. And then when he asked the question, what are your superpowers? I actually had, I went back and I said, this is what I have to focus on, because this is me. This is what that I'm known for. So I really love that.
That is awesome. It's like our kids, right? We tell them something, and they don't listen, and they go and talk to someone else, and they come back and go, I'm going to do this. They said this, they heard it different. We hear it differently from a different voice. What are the 5 job descriptions of an agent? It's the same as what we talk about, it's just worded differently, right? Lead generate, you got to go get the business. I love his approach and his delivery, because it's very, you have to think, right? And that's important. Why do I sell real estate? No, it's not for the legacy. It's not for this. It's not for that. What do you do it for right now? And what do you want? What do you don't want to go back to? Serving tables, bartending, whatever that is, pay your bills. And right now this call couldn't have come at a better moment. When I talk to agents, they're either succeeding at an extremely high level right now, or they're way down in their production from last year. And there's not an in-between.
Good morning. I'll share.
Jamal, we always love to hear you.
Good morning. Good morning. Excuse my voice. I just haven't been my best the last few days. It's been under the weather. But it's amazing. I listen in and it's funny the training we received this morning. Actually, literally woke me up at 3 o'clock this morning, and what popped in my head was I'm not clear on what my top 2 or top 3 prospecting modes or lead generation modes are. And I literally grabbed my pad, went back to notes from a previous GPS session we had, and I looked at it and I changed it up. And so what am I naturally good at? That actually popped in my head. I enjoy doing this, and which is talking to people, engaging. We call that personal development contact. And farming, just getting to know people, get in my area, developing that. And open houses would be like my third. So it was interesting how we actually covered that this morning. That actually woke me up at 3 o'clock this morning. So that's
I'd like to add something too. I want to just do a special shout out to Curtis. Man, thanks for meeting with me yesterday, man. I love you, brother. Fantastic. But what I noticed was really cool is that this was probably the shortest training I've ever listened to, especially on a Friday. But also, Curtis, just to let you know, some of the stuff we talked about yesterday, already implemented that last night. Already seen some fruit from it already. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
I'll share real quick. So lately I've been feeling like my why isn't big enough. And this morning he broke it down in such a way. And like everyone's saying, you know, we hear this all the time. It's like all the time drilled into our brain. And when he said, just break it down to the nitty gritty, it was like a relief, because I was like, cheese and bread, you know, I have like the things that are going around in my life that, you know, cause issues. But when you listen to other people's stories, you're like, my God, my why is just not like big enough. Maybe it's maybe like a catastrophe has to happen. But the way he said it, I mean, I was like, I do this because I have to feed my family, I have to keep my house, you know, basic everyday things. And it was such an eye opener. And I already got my sticky note and I'm ready to go. And, you know, it's just a click that just makes everything that you're doing fall right into place. And, you know, put your blockers on, continue doing what your 3 things that you said you were going to do, you're going to stick to it. And that's the hardest part, sticking to it, you know? So, but thank you. That was like Sasha had said, that's the shortest training, but highly impactful. And I'm glad I'm here. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. I think Liz Canona's had her hand up. Liz?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on that, Sasha, because what I want you guys to understand is everybody does this for a different reason. So just because you feel like, you know, you don't have to have a tragedy in order for you to be successful in this business. You know, your why is important to you. Everyone struggles differently, and that's okay. So we just appreciate things differently. And I want you to know, don't ever be ashamed if your why isn't big enough. You know what I like? If you feel like your why isn't big enough because it isn't traumatic, it doesn't have to be traumatic. It can just be, just like you said, as simple as, hey, I need to pay the bill so that I can feed for I can provide for my family. That is okay. Don't ever be ashamed for what's important to you, because that's what's going to keep you going every single day. I just really had to comment on that because I feel so bad right now. Like, your why is important. It is important. So I'm sorry, guys. I had to bring that out. I love you, girl. Like, don't ever be ashamed.
I want to share something. I've had many different careers. But I think the most important thing about real estate is that we tend to think of, why do we need a why? Why do we need a why? Do we need a tragedy? Do we need some reason to tell people why we do real estate? And the fact of the matter for me to share is, this is my career. This is my career. If I were a doctor, the obvious thing would be, well, I want to save lives. But the fact of the matter is, he puts money on the table for his family. If I were a dentist, if I were a brain surgeon, and we tend to feel we need a reason to tell people why we're in real estate. And all of these are great answers, and the great answer is, I am freaking educated to sell real estate and to give generational wealth to people and to give people the right to own a home in America. But the fact of the matter is, this is my career. And I think that we forget that that's what we do. This is a career, folks. This is our living, and we have a right to say this is our career. And if we forget that, we tend to bumble around with, well, I sell real estate for this and I sell real estate for that and everything. And we seem to try to defend our reason for selling real estate. Like, I got into it because I couldn't be successful in something else. I got into it because it's a career, and this is what I'm successful at. Just saying.
Great job, Karen. Thank you for that. I'm with you 100%. And I don't know that any of us could have said it any better. So thanks so much.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Coach Curtis and Tom, what sets us up for extreme success in situations like this is an accountability. And when we have great accountability through different avenues that speak to us, I know of one great way that I stay accountable to these 5 things on each making money and building my business is having a great coach. So as y'all know, on this call, we have different ways of coaching and different forms of coaching that are available for you. I'm going to drop in the chat, because those of y'all who invested in yourself in the group coaching have excelled so well this week. And I'm so proud of you. So I'm going to drop the RISE slide. If you are interested, Coach Curtis and Coach Debbie, you can add more to that if you like.
You know, just that I have a coach because I struggled to hit my goals. That's, you know, I need accountability in my life to help me execute on what's most important to me, right? We're all solopreneurs, basically, right? Working by ourselves, and having a peer group or having a group of people that know what your goals are, that won't let you slide when you say, well, I didn't, who was it? What was the story you told Tom last week? Was it Steve Pugh was on his way home after a really successful day?
Yeah. So he just called me again yesterday and said, Tom, I got to make my 5 calls. I can't talk to you right now. I haven't done them yet. There's no one I know that is so committed like him. I'm not even, I mean, honestly, I can say it outright. There's days where I'm like, I'll just get to it tomorrow. Procrastination is a poison. It's a disease. I did a training class on Wednesday, and I asked everybody if they wanted a magic pill on lead generation, and everyone said yes. And I said, who has the fear of the phones? Everyone said yes. I said, who has the fear of success? Everyone says yes. But yet we want to be paid at a highest level. So there's things that we have to do that make us very uncomfortable to do it. And what he said was, what Dan mentioned was, what is your superpower? And put it into all those different opportunities of earning business. It makes so much sense. What is your superpower? If you like to speak and teach, do buyer seminars, seller seminars, all kinds of seminars. You know, what is your superpower? And then name 2 or 3. And by the way, this is all part of a behavioral assessment tests that you can do too, and get better results on what your superpower is based off of your assessments. But ask 5 or 6 people that are not your immediate family and say, what's my superpower? What do you think my superpower is? And you may hear some consistency in there, and then work on that. That right there helped me when I'm doing teaching and speaking to go, what's your superpower? And put that into combination with how to get business and go after it that way.
I so agree, Tom, because when we focus on our strengths, one of the things that Dan said is do it with energy like on steroids. So if we're focused on our strengths rather than our weaknesses, that natural energy comes through, which creates a better working environment for ourselves. So I like so glad that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so on Facebook, you guys can put a comment in there or a like. I made a post about Dan's mastermind today. It has this 5-day listing challenge up there, free 5-day listing challenge coaching. So I put that in there. Please go ahead in there, make some remarks, get in there and put some ahas and help the others out. And Curtis, you'll be able to get that list from Dan and send it off to Tiffany and have her send it off to everyone. You know, obviously we can't send it just to everyone that's been on the call, but maybe we can make a post of from today's call, here's the list or something like that there.
So thanks for making that post real quick, Tom. So I just wanted to say, so you made a post and you put it in the Facebook group, yes? You're talking and it's on mute, Tom. You got to figure this.
I put it on my public page, but I can put it to the GPS group too.
Yeah, well, no, I'd appreciate it if you do that. And here's why. There's still 55 people on this call, and I trust that you all found value. And from the feedback, we're actually hearing that. And we've gotten to about 80, 90 people on this particular call, and we'd love to continue to grow it. And so I'd love for all 55 of you people that are still here to jump on there, make a comment, say you loved it, liked it, whatever, say something. And then, because I'd love to see us get up to about 100, 150 people. I think, Tom, what did you tell me in the GPS group? There's actually 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So then my question is, why aren't there 1,000 people on this call?
I want to say something too. Those of you that are still on the call, the 52 people, Curtis, if you're coaching somebody monthly, what's the cost to that per half hour per week?
$1,500.
Okay. And Debbie's the same. And that's actually one of the more reasonable coaching costs. And do you pay more than that for your coach?
Yes.
I know you do because I've talked to him. Here's what I'm saying. You actually have once a week for almost an hour of coaches that have a standard of cost because they deliver value, and yet you won't even come to a free call. Invite people to these calls. The 52 people, if you invite one person to this call, you're making a difference in their life. Todd called Curtis yesterday, right? And Todd picked Curtis's brain, and Curtis didn't say, no, get on my schedule, you got to pay me, right? You guys need to take advantage of what we're delivering. And if you're not, you're missing an opportunity of growth. You're missing an opportunity of whatever can help you. Is there anyone in Vero Beach on this call? Anyone in Vero? We have a new agent joining us. If there's anybody in Vero on this call that's a mentor, let me know, because we have a great agent that needs a good mentor in Vero. We prefer to get them into our GPS group though. All right. Anybody else? Anything last minute? Deb, Curtis, Clea, Liz? I was trying to change your name, Liz, but it wouldn't let me. So they took away host from me because I was going to put a name in there under your name and you would have beat me up or something. But see, you're far enough away where it won't hurt.
Tom, I'm in Altamont today. Don't make me go to Daytona.
Hey,
Don't make me come to
Tom. Hey, Tom
Yes.
and Curtis, I know that most people, when they look at the slide, they may not be able, because they're driving or whatever, to take a picture of the QR code. So I also posted the link, and the link goes directly to the questionnaire for Rise Coaching.
Thank you, Claire. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording.